to the 6th step, it's easier to just be like, okay, I'm 2 from the top. And then just try to angle yourself to hit this, this hole, earlier, since it acts as the loading point, as opposed to, like, landing, on the windowsill, right? And then having to walk in. Avoid hitting, this sloped surface, like, at all, because, it will slide you down and distract you from what you actually are looking to do. So, like, try to have, like, your camera just, like, lined up in this direct line. If you need to, you can just do non-running single jumps, because these are very, like, quick back-to-back little strings of actions. Or you can even do double jumps if you're not comfortable. But that is how you would do that optimally. And run off. This book you can trip over. So. And then also this wood plank, it doesn't really matter so much if you trip over, so long as you end up hitting the cutscene. Anytime you do enter one of these save prompts, which will happen anytime the book comes up and you hear that, like, ticking noise come down. It's at the end of, like, missions, so whenever you've done, like, something significant in the game, it's a little bit more nebulous with the tutorial. It's like when you enter the house, when you finish this U-turn, whatever. Anyways, it'll say continue. What does it say exactly? Yeah, it will say, like, continue or save, unless you have saving enabled. Make sure you select continue, and then it, by default, is on no, so you need to actually hit right once, and then hit yes. You can hold right to try and buffer it, but, it's easy to, you know, have multiple inputs and scroll over, so I just end up, you know, doing the singular input.
Hey, Remy, check out my acrobatic skills.
Emil, what are you doing? You're gonna hurt yourself.
Don't worry, I'm an expert.
Just need a second to appreciate this game.
I'll be waiting
Ratatorial. Oh, did my stream go out? That's fucked. Love this internet. Alright.
Thanks for the tip.
Anyways. Guess I'll have to combine these videos somehow. What I left off with was just talking about entering the house and treating the dialogue box for whenever you go to save, which again, you should go and disable saving. On console, you just remove your memory card, and on PC, you have to make the file read-only, and there's a guide on how to do that. I believe 2 spaces created. It's pretty simple. You just have to go into a folder of the installation files and... Oh wait, well, okay, actually, it's harder than I remember. But you just locate your save and do a little bit of, you just, like, check a box, pretty much. Anyways, so you spawn here, jump over on here. You can skip this first peg. So with the way these pegs work, they're a little difficult, because you need to actually press the action button in order to grab the next one, even after, like, grabbing the first one. That is very unintuitive and really screwed me up in this game as a kid, so I don't blame you for getting frustrated or whatever. But whenever you grab these, there's a small window before Remy ends up doing this full circle thing, which, by the way, you better call him Remy. and not Ratatouille, or you will be banned from the Discord. Ooh, I promise that will happen. I will turn you into a pickle and then ban you from the Discord. You'll be exorcised from the sewers. Anyhow, let's look at these pegs now. So, you see when Remy's like does the swing fourth, right? Like I said, the beginning of that exists when you grab one of these. So it ends up being the best rhythm is you grab and mash. So I usually just press grab once because it's more generous with that than it is with the actual jump. Some people will just mash both at once, or some people will like time it. Of course, I do kind of like this middle thing of both, where like I press grab once. Wait. Can you like buffer the grab? Yeah, so the grab actually can be buffered, whereas the jump cannot. So again, there's more leniency. But yeah, I'll like wait till I'm about to grab the pole, and then just start mashing for the next jump. All of those are different techniques in which you can do. If you end up like missing a peg, it's missing an early swing, it's only gonna lose you like a second. Same with any of the bonks or trips that you end up having. Yeah, do whatever is comfortable for you in that, and whenever you reach up here, just sprint forward into a middle. Same thing here, you want to hold diagonally down right and double jump over here. Now you can hold up left. There is a bit of a tapering off in routes here. If you're ending up having too much trouble with these pegs, or if you fall off, you can actually just run off from here, right? Jump up this. And then make it on top of here. But anyways, from here, you can either go left and like go just along this middle area, loop back around to this can. You can actually just go straight for the bed, and it's a little difficult, and I don't entirely, but if you are really good with just like getting... Oh, okay, something critical about Remy's jumps. No matter how long you press the button, Remy does a full jump height. There isn't any dynamic jumping or like alteration in elevation, whether or not I hold the button or not, so that does the same as... Which is why mashing is something that like is so easy to do. It's like, it's weird because it's like encouraged, but it can also create bad habits like the ones I had mentioned before. Anyhow, if you space this out right and continue to hold forward, because Remy actually gets like pushed up by slanted surfaces, and just the necessity to continue pressing up in order to land on this tiny ass ledge. And I guess you also need to hold R so that you get more proper distance. Yeah, I guess it does kind of affect your travel height or travel distance just from that sense alone. I don't know if that's the case if you go from like a standstill and then start holding. That's something I'll have to... Here, actually, I could check it now. Or, well, not really. because the speed has to do with your falling speed. Okay, let me disable that. Yeah, debug boys. Right. You can just learn stuff on the fly like that. Anyways, you're ultimately trying to get on top of this bed is why I'm doing that. The other thing you can do is continue to run forward and go down this way. Be careful of bonking over this, whatever, this little pole. You can even, like, see some things don't actually, like, poke out, or, like, they have more, like, generous and, like, kind of, like, curved surfaces that you can hug. This is one of those things that's slanted enough. And just run into this can and grab it. And you don't even need to move it that far, thanks to the ability to space jumps. But yeah, you're looking to get onto the sledge. Whether or not you go and grab the can, like, that way, or just jump onto the thing from the floor, you get on here. Shoutouts to Rat Shadows, by the way. Some things they just didn't make thick enough, or they didn't properly program shadows. I haven't paid much enough. I mean, look, it's here. But then, like, the rest of it. Anyways, it's behind this box, so what you can do is just, like, poke your head in, and then turn back, and, vamoose out. Now, in regards to the whole, like, turning 180, like, even when you're in walk, you can get this turning animation. So what you actually want to do is release the stick and then move again. It doesn't even have to be very long. It's just that the game doesn't want to see the stick go straight from up to down, or any 180 kind of thing. A way to practice that is to just do these little kind of like, you spin my head right round, like a rat turd baby, right round. Yeah, you can end up having him do like full 360s or whatever, if you've got the right rhythm. But yeah, anyways, the reason why this is happening is because you're going from, you know, being pointed one way to having a small moment where you're not moving that way or whatever. Like, basically, it's this same principle, but with movement, right? So you're just, you know, you're letting go of the stick, and that is what speedrunners will call neutral position, because the stick is not giving any input, it's going nowhere. So that's another just like useful terminology bit to know. Anyways, that's a good way to practice that. Onwards to the next one. And you kind of want to do the same thing you were doing coming off the bed initially. Go along here. Wait. Oh, sorry. I'm lying. Yeah, so let me just restart. Right, okay. So there's another two different ways you can do this. You run off the bed, and then you're back here where your can probably is. You can either go to the left or right of this box. Most people tend to go to the right because it's easier. And then you would climb this set of boxes, and you can either space out a double jump to grab on this lower curve here, or you can what the heck? Yeah, I guess you can't double jump that. or single jump at. Maybe that's why I saw some more people picking up the double jump to this. Anyways, there's some like much smaller like time save stuff like that that's still like, whoa. You can get up onto this treasure chest and then jump away, and so long as you're able to turn, you know, and grab that, or if that's uncomfortable, you can grab from here and then keep going. Same thing applies here with if you jump too high, just curve back around and then grab from the other side. And then just try and, you know, do that again, but the inverse of it, and flip your camera back around. The alternative thing you can do is, you know, from this can run over to here, and you're going to need to jump onto this house, right? And then jump. It's definitely easier from, like, you know, these higher elevations. You can jump back and grab, or if you're on the higher elevation, you can get back up over here. And then you can just jump around and grab from here. Now, when you get this apple, you need to space out your jumps so that you don't take fall damage. I've taken fall damage from just, you know, demonstrating stuff earlier. You can also technically, you know, go over these luggage things, but I don't see anyone doing that. You can also bulk there. But yeah, depending on how low you grab here, you can actually single jump and not take fall damage, but most of the time, you're going to have to double jump. Then, you run through here, go over this box, get this, or, like, do a late double jump. You can actually sprint into this corner, top left. Like, you need to hold, like, up left, but between the wall and this top can. It's a little weird. Or just double jump over it. And speak to Emil. Alright.
Okay.
So you need to run forward a little bit. The ball does magnetize you, but yeah. Still lower. Alright, so the ball has this neat thing where whenever you press R on occasion, it will burst forward. Now what you want to do is, like, kind of mash that, and you need to, like, combine it with your regular movement, and just kind of be ready for whenever that props up. So, yeah. And you want one of those bursts of movement to go over this hit, because it will slow you down a little bit. Very mildly so. I guess it doesn't really matter. But you do also need to watch out for, like, bumping off of this couch or anything else. But anyways, try your best to just single jump off of the ball and onto here. If your health is below 2 or below, you need to be able to take a hit for the upcoming thing. On hard mode, hits deplete 2 pieces of cheese. So yeah, either way. Okay, if you're below 2 cheeses in your gauge, you need to pick up a cheese. If you're on hard mode, you will just have to die, because this is the only piece of cheese that you have. Replenish that, and that's just for tanking damage later. So grab that if you need to, and then single jump, or however you need to get up these. You may end up slipping, just, you know, do a couple single jumps and whatever and get up these. This is a late jump you gotta be careful about, because if you just run, you can end up hitting this slope and fall down. So it's like a very quick late jump. Like Remy, you can actually jump off of that surface sometimes. So, you know, just be wary about that. Maybe jump early if you're not comfortable.
Thank you.
Alrighty. So here's a little bit of a skip or optimization of sorts in the world. The somewhere in France world level. Excuse me. And that's going to be skipping over large parts of this rope, because walking along a rope is very slow, and even though you like cover large like bits of distance by repetitively like reattaching yourself to the rope, this is the Ratatorial we were talking about, it's still not nearly as fast as running. So what you're gonna want to do is, you know, it will put you down here. You want to do a late single jump or a double jump to avoid interacting with this sardine can, and then sprint forward until you get to around this little bend in the curve of this gutter. You can actually get away with going a little further, but you have to like really space out your jump then. Whereas if you are like right at this, you can just jump and then like mash interact and you'll end up being over here. And that's just because the range on these things are really wild. Anyways, from there, if you need to, you can, you know, jump and re-grab land here, and then just whenever you're able to jump over onto the roof. Whether it's single or double jump. Then run forward, like this. Unrun in order to turn and grab these apples. Watch out for this slat of wood that is raised. Then turn into a meal. Alright. So this little wire, this metal rod here actually, rather, wants you to, you know, jump and Jedi rat force onto them as well, but you can actually just the cutscene spawn sets you up perfectly to just hold forward and wait, can you just hold square? Yeah, you can hold square, or you can mash it or press it or whatever, and then just like walk along this until you get to here. Then you can jump off and just kind of run along this gutter. Now this gutter actually, like, because you're so close to like collision, you can easily bonk. Holding slightly up left, like the most slight of left, tends to have the best results. Usually because there's like this little dip right here where the roof is more prominent than the you know, you just see like this little bend in the, you know, when I get towards the end, I will like enter walk again. It's still like better than like, I guess this walk is slightly faster than this. Maybe. I don't know. Either way, whatever like bit of running you can get in without terribly much trouble, like even if you get a bonk or two, it can still be worthwhile. Of course, you can always just, you know, continue moving along this typically. You do need to, you know, do the same kind of thing here as with the other thing to realign yourself, because this is actually a slippery surface, and you will get different jumps doing that, which is not fun, fast, or easy to control. Jump into here, hit your continue, right. Yes. Alright, Jedi forcing time again. I had a name. That's pretty close to what I said. Anyways, force Remy to utilize his psychic powers to bend gravity and his body. This you can actually just get to from... Wait, can you just... No, you can't just run off, that would be silly. But, yeah, you can single jump that, then like double jump these. I guess technically you can... I don't know. Just mash double jump on these other ones, except for this last one. You don't have to land on it because it's the last one in the sequence. So you actually like space out the things and get the apple. If you land on a surface, like you'll fall faster because the game adds more speed, or like you have faster, higher base speed downwards if you have walked on a surface before, as opposed to having like still been jumping or whatever. Gravity will like your downward velocity will just be greater. That will save you a bit of time as opposed to oh yeah, and you can also just use this as a backup or whatever. You can just go over to these. It's very mild, the time save. But anyways. Go around this truck. You're gonna need, like, both sticks to make this movement. Maybe even, cease running if you need to. It's helpful for cutting things close, after all. And hold left towards a meal. Alright, so this tells us, long-ass text box tells us about stealth. We're not gonna do that. Either go around, like, on the right, walk to line up with this, apple, or jump over the box. And kind of try to keep Remy, like, between the left and right, since these apples zigzag, and you can, like, have your hitbox just hit both of them. You try to, like, go in one swift motion to meet, and, like, you'll end up getting around here before the chicken attacks you. I am going to let myself die just to, like, do this in a slower thing. You know? Anyways, it takes a second before it can do that, so then just sprint past the chicken. You can get a cheese here if you need it, but otherwise just go over. Dash here, you can do the same thing with these. The chicks are a little weird because they will, like, aggro you whenever you get close and whenever you've attacked people. There's one spoon here, and sometimes the chickens will actually just go towards the back of the shack and not attack you, or the last two will, but the first one you're generally always going to. So what you want to do is, like, hit the first one and then walk forward so that the chick notices you, because, you know, gamers love when chicks notice them. Now, I don't recommend reenacting the beating them with a wooden spoon part, but, you know, I mean, in the bedroom, if she consents, then it's fine, but not on the street or anything like that. That's fucked up, lad. If you were considering that, reconsider your life choices. But then again, here you are running Rat, and I am in an intense tangent. Anyhow, go ahead, do that. Walk forward enough so that, you know, the chick aggroes you, and then whap them while you're waiting for the other chick to die. They will spawn their apple core where you struck them in death, so you can end up killing the first one while it's dying, hit the second one, go back, get this apple core, get the second apple core. Now the third chick, it's definitely up to debate on how you approach it. You can always just keep carrying the spoon. I do think you move mildly faster whenever you spin the spoon, though this isn't confirmed, so take that with a grain of salt. Remy puts this whole hitbox around him, however, depending on how you turn, it might be affecting the hitbox, because you can, like, keep it from going entirely. Yeah, it has, like, incredible range, like a good, Remy length. So you can continue to walk up and then hit him with this. You can alternatively also just drop the spoon, sprint, and spin at this dude 3 times. If you do that, though, be careful, because if you just mash, the Chick will have enough invulnerability after the second hit to retaliate. Because of just how, like, the timing of the spin versus the Chick getting up works. So you can either do that, or or just run past the Chick, which is probably the most difficult and weird. Like, I don't see people do that usually, just because, like, you have to avoid the Chick itself, and you also have to be wary of this doorway. But there is a second spoon here, and you can use that to kill the third and final Chick. If you do bonk it, you have to be careful, because you may end up, especially if you took damage from, like, falling earlier, then you can end up dying in this section. If you end up bonking into a Chick, because they can and will peck at you if you bonk. Anyways, just go into the middle of this, maybe even walk if you need to, because, yeah. And then run forward. It's depending on what skip you do, so there's a skip that I do that requires you to, like, it's essentially a damage boost, because you do a fall to get over this cutscene trigger, but it requires you to have full health, and either way you do this other damage boost in the route optimally. So in that scenario, like, it's unavoidable to have the cheese text box, but if you don't end up doing something that requires a damage boost or whatever, you can try and just, like, completely avoid picking up cheese for the whole run, and that will save you a few seconds. But at this point, it doesn't matter, so there's sliced cheese. You need it, move forward. Wait for your disc to work. Mash. You can just sprint, and this will automatically continue. So you can hold forward to move with this, but what's weird, you have to mash the action button to paddle faster. And this can actually, like, it kind of has the same thing with Remy, but, like, the lid itself has a hitbox. So you can use that to further, like, poke into these apples. Especially, like, this one here in the whirlpool, because you don't want to get caught in it to slow you down all too much. I guess, like, yeah, the paddle itself kind of has a hitbox as well, so it's very generous, but again, it's a very tight corridor, so it doesn't matter all too much. At the very end, like, the very end of, like, a section of levels, when you complete a whole main area, you'll go through a couple pages here where it tallies your points and stuff. And then you have the same save prompt. Just run at a meal here, like, just aim yourself at this pipe. Also, hey, Mar.
Why'd you want?
Showing up. Skip, and then annoying shit. Okay, so for the most part, Destiny River is just minimalizing jumps, and cutting corners nicely. Because the geometry has, again, just dishonest hitboxes, but this time actually, like, more cutting inward, so you can go rather tightly, especially with, like, how the book is, like, literally and visually a rectangle. It's easy to visualize, and how, like, easily you're able to re-angle yourself much more than you can regular Remy, and there are a few, like, whirlpools that are actually faster to just swim across as opposed to trying to avoid them. So I'm just gonna speed through this. Try not to honk. Using camera turning, very good, because having to readjust your angle in here actually kind of cuts into your speed as opposed to going forward. Right. So these trees are actually telegraphed. Um, I'll show you how on the next one, but what's important is that you actually want to do a claw grip in this section. And what I mean by that is normally when you're playing, you have your index fingers up on, the shoulder buttons of your controller, like, R, L, those, and then you have your thumbs on the sticks, right? Well, because of how integral the the camera movement is here, you want to have your thumb on the stick. Your index finger is going to be mashing the action button, and then you're going to have your middle finger pressing the R button, because there are a couple logs cut out here, right? And by holding R down those, you actually slide down them faster. Like going over what that would entail. Okay, so here's how you can tell the trees. So this one coming up right here, there's actually a shadow that already exists before the tree falls. And they're also like along the side of the river standing up, and you can single jump every single one of these. So just hold R whenever you come to these carved out like hollowed tree barks that act as slides, and then continue back onto your crafting as regularly. You can claw, I guess, for regular rat as well. It does, because of like how great of turning control Remy has in the air. Like the little bit of time where you are losing being able to like adjust the camera or whatever when you're mashing jump, like there's so little input possibility and loss, like because you can also just like mash the jump or like space the jump and then like flick the camera a little bit and then jump again. Like it's never going to be annoying enough to warrant it. But because there are like so many interruptions where you have a sliding part, you have to go down a slide and then be rafting again immediately, I recommend clawing for this. You don't have to worry about that with keyboard and mouse though. Alrighty, so that there, you cut this. Yeah, I'm actually just going to wait to die. Sorry, I'm describing like 3 things at once. Jump. You kind of want to jump a little early. Like Remy's jumps go really far because of the speed of the book. Here, if you end up jumping early or you're just unconfident, just mash the jump, or if you jump really early, then you can space out your double jump. You have to be careful. Keep holding forward whenever you jump, because even though you're like kind of like magnetized to the book, there's a chance of landing on the branch, or like the fallen branch or tree, and getting stuck on that, and then the book will leave you, and then you'll just have to die. That's just how it is when you do that. XD. All right, we'll do this. You could maybe see back there I clipped the rock a little bit. Try to jump to get to these slides as soon as you can, because the more time you spend rafting, you're just kind of wasting at that point. This is definitely a level that may be optimized more because it's unclear. Like it because like with the jumps being such good like burst movement, like it could be like someday if we'd be able to like tell individual, like it could be that like doing a few paddles and then a jump could be optimal, but like you end up losing like a bit of speed or whatever after your jump, so it's just generally best to continue paddling, kind of, follow the same logic as with the ground movement there. Right, so once you get past that little zigzag, just stick to the right there. Look, very little speed decrease, and you don't have to travel so much thing. That slide will really speed you up, so just be wary, don't like jump off of it or whatever, you'll end up killing yourself. Same thing here, sometimes just slow down and double jump. That slide typically will send you reeling backwards. So when this happens, and whenever you like bump in general, you can kind of regain your control and speed a little faster by just jumping again to reset. But in any scenario here, you jump to these logs you actually run across the tops of, as opposed to sliding down them. So you do that, and there's another book, because Gusto mass produced these because he believed anyone could cook. It's not just the one sacred book, it's sacred too. However, another one pops up here. They're just two in a row, like two sections in a row. It's like right where this specific gap is that, it's like, oh, well, I linearly have to go through here, as opposed to there just being like a rock or two that you can swerve around in one or two different ways. Watch out for that branch. Oh. Jump. So yeah, you can just look at the water and see the shadows and jump for that. Then here, just hug left, and you won't have to deal with any of those whirlpools. Slight zigzag here, and now I am done with Destiny River and can show you what I mean about holding X with the cutscenes being bad. Alright, so you might not have seen it there, but you will see it after I hit this. Remy just did a jump, even though I stopped pressing X after the confirmation of not saving. And that's because whenever the save prompt comes up, there's enough time to, for there to be input on Remy. You want to just, like, hold forward maybe and do nothing. Anyway, now we are almost about to get into the game, yay! Text box here. Run to the right. There's this little, like, grease slick here, or I guess oil, or whatever. You're going to want to run into it and then just mash. And that will get you this quick, forward momentum jump. Typically, with, like, slippery surfaces, they're slow and they have, like... But it converts whatever your current speed is into, like, it plays off over here. And to maximize that, as opposed to just like running up this, which is also fine to do, by the way, but here you can actually see, so Remy's base running speed is 1.4. Whenever you enter a puddle or slippery surface of this sort, you do slow down slightly, right? However, the shorter you're in the puddle, and the quicker you put out your double jump, it will like maintain that previous speed without deducting from it, and then that double jump is the one that really converts it to forward speed. And there's no delay between your first and double jump, unlike with typical, solid surface rummy. So it used to be a bit more questionable because like it was like a trade-off, but as you keep going forward, you get more momentum. And if you do it fast enough, you don't actually lose out on any of the momentum you had from your run speed. So even just right now, I'm at 1.5 speed. I went down to like 1.4 for a moment there because I reached the apex of my jump, but now I'm at 1.6, 1.9, and then as soon as I land, I can just continue running again, right? So it's very mild, but it is a good skill to have. Helps you with your mashing. Mashing is, again, very good in Rat. It will help with a clip at the very end of the game. I think does it help with a mini game? No. But anyways, you just have to be careful to not end up missing the thing and then completely avoiding the thing entirely. Just of course be sure to hold forward because it does still take input from your stick, even though like I'm still going forward. Because I pulled back, my speed drastically slowed down and I didn't go as far. The other thing would be you're going to end up trying to aim for, like, you're going to go to that tire over there, so the closer towards the center you can get, the better. So again, you can alternatively go over there, run along this, or you can actually go this way, and effectively you end up having to like climb this little rampway here, right? So if you do end up going this way, you can like platform off of this tire to get up here earlier. Worst case scenario, you can come over here and use a trampoline. So anyways, however you end up getting over here, what's easy and fastest is you go onto this tire, double jump onto this right angled pipe, and then jump back over this way. I think you might avoid a text box doing this. But anyways, so then from here, jump anywhere onto this Ratatorial, and then press the action button. You are going to have to skip a text box for the first time that you collect a star in the same fashion that you do with the cheese, and it's usually right there, so be wary of that as well. Then run forward. Watch out, because this text box also comes up, and that can kind of fuck up your flow, because you'll be moving without being able to do inputs, and you can end up bonking into the bag. The further left you are, the less likely you are to bonk, because the trigger for this text box will arrive sooner. Anyways, on lower frame rates, you can actually run above that, apparently. But anyways, you're gonna have to jump this, run forward, watch out for this wire, watch out for all of this, maybe just walk into here. Now, Paris Streets is actually one of the most difficult and in-depth ILs, but I'm going to try and be not too overwhelming with everything, but generally speaking, just stay towards the center here. There's a little rock right here that you will trip on most FPSs, and the main thing about this level is just how much debris there is. So I usually just run forward. I do just like one of the switch between running and not running as quick as I can once through there. Single jump this, jump that. Keep more to the left. You want to, when you're running through this section, you start at the middle and then gradually work your way to the left. Like this. Because this ramp will be here. Run forward on this ramp, but don't bonk. If you single jump, you will ledge grab that. So just double jump, late jump so that you spend less time airborne, right? Of course, you also go further with a sprinting jump, which you cannot get a sprinting jump from a late jump because you're not on ground. But late jump is actually best and easiest to control. Right. And like turn camera and switch your thing. You can either run on the top of this and then, you know, just pause to walk on that. You can end up running on this and then jump that. You can end up running down the side here, but keep more as much towards the center as possible, as difficult as that may be. Or or a combination of those. Like maybe you'll end up slipping off here, and then, you know, this you can just. I'm pretty sure. No, okay, you end up needing to walk so that you can like make these turns as well. Anyways, I'm just going to go with what I'm most comfortable with. You have the widest margin for error with this, and you can still end up like I use that as a setup for that curve there. Feel free, of course, to double jump these if you need to. Then you can like sprint this, but there's all this rubble here and there's a little bit of an elevation here, so you will avoid that. Do not take this ramp. You will bonk up it no matter what you do. Or if you do take it, at least don't run it. You need to just like single jump it repetitively or something. What I do instead is I grab this, you know, you have cheese here. You can single jump this, single jump, and then run and do your acrobatics right here, doing the tail, or the, you know, the re-grab on these. Then run forward here and get on this later, because of the sprinting, you're going to just get better distance on this, and it will help you with the upcoming cycle for these steam things. And so cycle just means kind of whatever pattern that certain obstacles in the level are on. So right now I'm late, so I want to wait for the steam to disappear. If you do get damaged, you're going to be forced into that cheese. If you do end up picking up, you actually need to double jump these because the hitbox is way higher. And if you do end up like not grabbing properly, or like do an improper jump or whatever and enter the sliding thing, you can actually still mash and end up jumping after you slip off. So that's again predicated on the whole pressing X or mashing jump as your friend. Anyways, cut this corner. And then these are a little wild because they have, you know, a mind of their own, physics and whatever. Sometimes they'll like completely flip out and like go way up. Sometimes they'll hardly move at all, but either way, usually you can just sprint across them, double jump, just know to not be mindless there. Double jump. Really? That might be interesting for tasks. Yeah, avoid this rubble and go over. Same thing happens with this, so you have to go over, double jump it. You can run over this on low FPS. Usually you have to jump it. And then this you can, you know, either single and then like double jump, like landing on this, or you might run and double jump. You need to double jump. But yeah, you definitely need to double jump that. This is also something that I would recommend you try double jumping. If you do end up missing this here, there's a platform down to the left, or just keep holding forward and you're likely to ledge grab. Ledge grabbing, like, doesn't happen all too often in Rat. Like, a lot of the surfaces just, you can't ledge grab, and it's kind of silly that it exists, but that's just more incentive to get good movement. So another one of those slippery surfaces is coming up here. Just sprint and do the same thing, except you can space out your jump to like try and land on or near the Ratapult. It's not... It just looks very swag. Both are fast. Turn your camera as this is moving along, and you will be set to hold forward. So normally, you know, you would land and then have to like turn and then run or whatever. But here, instead, you can just hold like both right and yeah, you can turn your camera right as well as like kind of try to move Remy's head right, and the game will adjust for that. Okay, so that whole thing I said about like Remy's front paws becoming like a thing, yeah, so that helps with interacting with these springs here. Like, you can walk up them at lower FPS. Actually, it might just be walking up them. But either way, I find it helpful to stop and then start a run. It just, like, helps with aiming, I think, at the very least, to get onto these. So, anyways, you may or may not have to jump for those based on your FPS, but give the thing about putting the paws down a shot. Here, there's a very old and useless strat where you can run over to here and then jump back left into the corner and damage boost up this way. But really, you're just best off with jumping and grabbing this. And then just be sure to be past the first couple slats here before you start running again and hit this trigger. Mash through this. When this minigame comes up, just like run your thumb slowly over all of the face buttons so that you end up just like trying every vegetable, because with it being the first ingredient, you actually aren't punished, and you can just you know, potentially get the ingredient before you'd actually have time to react. After that, you have to do all of these normally. Just try your best to, unlike what I did, you know, like, just get them all correct, because anytime you get one wrong, you lose out 2 rounds. Just, like, look at it, look back down. With this minigame, they're always in the same location, like, for the, like, the code, or, like, the, the graphic to show you what button to press, right? So you've got, like, cucumber, cabbage, onion, and carrot. I'm probably wrong about that left one, and it's probably a zucchini or something. I don't need that speed thing anymore. But yeah, just do that, and then a cutscene will happen, so hold X, and hold forward. And this, you may have to jump Just remember to keep holding forward because you're probably gonna get stopped by the edge of the wall there. Here I usually like to do a jump to space me off because there's this little wire there and I don't believe you actually like have time much to react to it. You can do that and then like squeeze in the right here, or you can just go along here. Either way, just watch out for all of the wires there. There's two. Generally you kind of want to treat it like you're driving a car, except that you're looking strictly at the ground around Remy's feet for like general movement purposes, except like when there are some external factors like enemies or whatever, because you don't want to get blindsided by those. But anyways, jump into the entryway to this pipe, mash through the buttons, and hold forward and R. Okay, so slide controls. Holding R and makes you speed up. Here, it will be very useful actually to have the speed thing. As you can tell, I've just landed on the slide and my speed is already at 2.33, almost 2.4. So that's already like 1.5 times your normal running speed. Slides are a very difficult, like high octane thing, like casually, and that still kind of transfers over in the speed run because you like slides practically have uncapped speed, and what you want to try to do is just be able to build up speed slowly the whole time by just like remaining on your back, sliding. There's like 4 different levels of speed. There's like pulling back, there's just sliding down, holding forward, or just like sliding like normally. Then there's just like sliding, holding forward. Then there's being on your back. Then there's being on your back, being forward. And jumps kind of act similarly to the slippery surfaces, because the slide is a slippery surface through and through. It's just to a much longer and larger extent. So the problem is, like, jumps are good and like build up speed in some scenarios, but after you like reach the apex of the jump, you kind of like you lose speed whenever you land, I believe, as well as at the apex of the jump, or it's one of them. Maybe one of the IL runners know, but either way, you do lose speed in the same way that you lose speed whenever you just enter a slippery surface for too long. Just in typical gameplay. Camera turning is really necessary here because the turning can be really tight. Like, you can't turn all that much when you're on your back speeding up, so you need to use that to compensate. You need to be careful to not turn the camera so much that you end up having Remy like claw back. You actually have a lot more control over your speed than you know, so like I will try my best to like so look, I was at 3 point whatever. Now I've been holding back for like 2 seconds and I'm back to 1.4, for example. But I also like gain speed really quickly. So a lot of how like mastering of a slide works is not just the maintenance of speed, but just like speed control. Like certain turns and curves and whatnot, you're not going to be able to make at too high of speeds. So like knowing what actions you can take, or just like those quick little adjustments, how quickly that can cut into your speed and make your control that much better is very critical to know, and can save yourself a lot of pain in learning, because whenever you end up dying on a slide, you have to do the whole slide over. You don't get to have the checkpoints that you do whenever you just like take damage by falling off the slide. Whenever your health bar empties out completely, that's it. You start right back at the top of the slide, and that can lose you like a minute plus in any given run. So that's one of the downsides and intimidations of this category, but it is also of great benefit to like you know, seeing more of the game. Like this is iconic to most of the people that like ended up playing this like in their childhood, and it has a high skill ceiling as well. Anyways, thankfully the pipes do ramp up in difficulty. This one is pretty enclosed. You do kind of want to just like zigzag back and forth at the start, just so that you're like covering ground. Like going down a slope is going to build up speed, and by zigzagging very mildly, you can increase your speed faster before the slide starts to really dip. And the other thing is with speed is that as far as jumps, you can get away with little ones. Again, like the longer that you are in the air, the faster you end up for a little bit, but it doesn't matter because you can build speed faster while you're on the slide, and you also lose more speed whenever you land from a lengthier airborne point, because you land while not being sliding on your back. So like there's a little bit of a transitional period, so that ends up cutting into your speed. That's what it is. Alright. Anyways, just like slot first, slightly to the left, use this. I'll try to like minimize my time in the air by like jumping to the right or left most parts of the slide, and then I can use the curvature of the inside of the pipe to regain that speed again. Just follow the stars and keep your eyes forward to try and be reactionary. Again, kind of like a car, except now you're needing to look several spaces in front of you. As opposed, I mean, yeah, it just like a car, rather. Because you need to react to, it's just that with grounded movement, you need to react more just on the spot as opposed to preemptively. Careful not to bonk or run into things. There is the main thing. Bonking, like if going at a really high speed and then bonking is worse than going at a middling good speed and not bonking. So just go with whatever speed whatever speed is highest for you that you're able to like comfortably control, and then push yourself from there. Once you get to the end of these slides, whenever you come off a sliding surface, just like any other surface or interactable in Ratatouille, you're actually able to jump off of it. So you're going to try and like cling to the left, and then try to space out a jump or whatever you need to do to get just over onto this concrete, and you'll have one of these saving prompts. That will save you from having to land on the mattress. We call that mattressless. Run up this wood, or just, you know, run along and then double jump, whatever you need to do. Cutscenes. And now we're gonna start getting into the real meat and potatoes of the runs. NMS. Good God. Alright, we are getting into City of Lights. I neglected to mention where you should split The auto splitter will take care of that. Typically, I just split, like, at the end of a level, so, like, after I enter a loading screen, before those cutscenes begin, or, like, whenever, the book pops up. So that's either, like, between levels or after missions is, like, enough of a point in time in which you can reach over to your keyboard quickly and press a button if you need to in order to split. Okay. So whenever you spawn, you're, like, in line with this. So you run over it, and then you can either, you know, just keep going and then, do this, but you end up hitting that text box usually. So I end up doing this, or I jump this corner. But if you end up needing to, you can just damage boost across and it won't actually be any worry. Whatever it takes, get to Remy's dad, hear the best voice line. Ah, Remy. Alright. A lot of the cutscenes actually end up pointing you right where you can just hold forward and sprint and be on the path. The main thing with City of Lights is that there's a lot of these little raised bricks that you need to watch out for in terms of, like, tripping hazards. Just, like, weave between them or go, you know, or just, like, walk over them. Whatever you need to do. Get Twitch's trigger here. You can either just use this Ratapult for easy's sake, or you can just run back. Run is, I think, slightly faster. Alright, so here is a little bit of a skip. You run over to here, jump this, and then you need to walk or jump onto this wooden plank, depending on your FPS. Anything that I say depending on the FPS, on console, it's safe to assume that you can walk up it, because console has a way, like I said, there's no variability in FPS. The only difference would be, like, GameCube has a little bit of, like, leniency or, like, things that are, like, specific to itself because of it being 30 FPS. Okay, so, like, walk onto, like, the edge of this corner sticking out by this trash can here, and you're going to jump back and up, right behind you and land on this little lip of the cardboard box here. It's a little weird, because, like, it seems like you're going to go forward. Heck, I even said, like, up, but it's actually just back right. And then you land on this. Can be a little light and deceiving. Like, because suddenly it's like, whoa, wait, there was a platform there? From there, you go straight to back left to land on the trash can. And that's how you do that skip. If you're not cool with that, then, you know, just go along these boxes normally. You don't need to use these holes at all. Just do, like, some late jumps or something. But they are there. Alrighty. So from here, just jump these out. Wait for those to swing to cover most of the distance. And then just go on to the next window. So then once you knock that over, or actually, you don't even have to wait to knock that over. This will just keep going. But just like with the other window shutters, since they swing so fast, it's good to just stay on it for a second. I like to stay along this sidewalk until I surpass this large hunk of exposed brick. And then just go past this one. Similar thing here with the can from before. And then just, swinging is nice because it can prevent the cockroaches from being annoying in your way. But just carry it over to Twitch and go between this car, taxi, and the trash can lid, because then you won't have to go around. Righty. This you have to stop. This you have to... Like, this has too much of an elevation, but oddly enough, this little, surface, that... I don't know, you can just run across that, whatever this scratchy, like, sewer grate type stuff is, and run into get here. Hey! Now, there are a couple different routes people do for the spoons, but generally speaking, I'll show you mine and just say, like, some general notes. So I always go for this one up here first. Try to avoid the dart, but it's not necessary. Like, any of these collectibles will also give you a text box. You'll probably want to double jump this. Yeah, what do I want to say in regards to these spoons? So I'll just show you the path to each one, or whatever. This one is up here, and then you can bring it down, and, wow. Yeah, so it's kind of a secondary piece of tech, but if you run, you can actually bump the spoons forward, but it's really hard to control and very, like, inconsistent, for the most part. Like, there is a video or like kind of like showcasing it and like trying to make it consistent, but even the top runners don't really attempt that yet. Definitely something that could use more. Well, thank you, Master Leo. So really, it's just best to like fall and wait for the spoon and then pick it up, so that you don't end up having something random like that. And you have to, like, watch out for where the dog is. My cycles are going to be completely off, you know, because of, everything, all this explanation and everything that I'm doing, but, you know. Anyways, use this to hit, this one that's on the top of the dumpster. Bring it over to here. And then I usually run over to here. Some people do the reverse order, where they will grab this one, bring it over to here. This would be the one to probably try the bounce on, because there's not as many places wrong it can go, and there's not anything that will bounce it, it will ricochet off of and bounce backwards. But yeah, then you could, like, turn and come get this one, for example, and then you would go and, you know, hit this one, right? But either way, from here, then you're going to come along here, like behind this trash can, and then jump up here. So this is sort of that, like, late jump thing I was talking about. This divot, sometimes you can trip over, FPS dependent. Okay. So, whatever little, like, selection of movement you do. So the way that the dog route works is that you get over to here and drop this, and usually he's paused right here. And you, like, it's actually, like, you kind of have, like, a bit of a window, so you can actually fuck up here and not lose time. You just have to wait for the dog to turn around, and then keep going. And then you would turn over here and get this as your last spoon. I don't believe anyone ends with any other, at least any other trap being, a different one to end on. Maybe there are some people that run over, like from these to over here, but I've not seen them. So you could, like, but yeah, you could, like, pick that up and then hit this and, or, yeah, I don't actually know what you would do. But anyways, after, this is what happens if you get caught by the dog, by the way, and it just, you have to watch that animation and it'll fling you back to where you were. Excuse me. And he makes you drop your item, so that's annoying. But anyways, so typically you end up being here. You can either go right and go through the bottom here, which is what most people do and is fastest, typically. Or you can wait for this dog to fuck off. And then, yes. Poor thing doesn't know how to kill a Chad rat because they are actually at the top of the food chain, even killing chickens and eating their half-digested apples for dinner. Okay, so the other alternative is going up this way and grabbing the nets and then running in through here. However, more jumping and like precise movement shite, like you kind of have to backtrack a little bit. Nice. So in here, you actually want to avoid sprinting for a bit, not because of bonking, but because of the camera. So whenever you're entering here, like, the camera is used to, like, this being a, like, wall or whatever, but then there's this, like, small crevice in the wall, and the camera tries to catch up with you, and it might go out of bounds or, like, or overcompensate and get in front of you, and then you'll do one of those spins. We have talked about the whole thing. See, even like in walking there, so like, yeah, try your best to just like keep the camera in cooperation with you. Like, I guess turning the camera left helps because like that's where like the wider part of the entrance is. I don't know. Just be wary about that. Make adjustments as you need. And you can single jump onto this or onto this and double jump up here. And then you can either single jump or just run up that. And then you can try and just land on this wire, like by mashing. If you don't manage to do that, you can just try again or just go over to here. Of course, you don't have to worry about that if you take this route, so there's that to consider with. Anyways, so you land on this. These are zigzagged, so you can jump across the gap. Just don't jump too early like I did there. Trying to get more towards like the last third. And then, yeah, just keep doing that kind of in a pattern until you get to here, and then sprint away. If you want, you can drop this string by spinning, or even if you just run and hold the action button, it actually will activate regardless of, like, you don't need the animation to put out the hitbox, so you can use that as a backup. That's also useful in practice. But optimally, you wouldn't do that, and you would actually just, the camera will go, just hold right, down right. That's down right page. And you will be able to run along here. You won't bonk into anything here. For the most part, I don't even know what that is. But, yeah. You don't have any danger of falling. Just be sure to single jump these. Double jump them if you need to. You can late jump. Yeah, you can really just get away with single jumping these, even the point jumps. If you haven't collected the darts yet, you might want to try single jumping over this to avoid the text box. If not, then whatever. One of the ways back down off this balcony, since you end up returning to the trash can down there by the motorcycle, actually involves basically just being forced to pick one of these up anyways, so, you know, you can just not concern yourself. Alright, there are a couple ways to get up here. So this is one of the weirder kind of separations in terms of people's routes. This is a trick that everyone should learn because getting up here early is actually very influential to hundo and a bunch of other, like, you know, skip potential type stuff. Normally you would just follow this, this half pipe along and, you know, take the pegs and then run up that roof or whatever. But there are a couple different things we can do, and all of them involve trying to get, like, on top of this roof ledge early. As you can see, like, it's not even that far away, like, I can almost double jump to it. So, one of the things you can do is, annoying and painful. Thankfully, yeah, you have this checkpoint here, so it won't really matter all that much. But, yeah, you can, like, land on the edge of this and double jump off of it. Oh, yeah, that's the other thing. You can, like, end up sliding against the surface, so that's why you want, this string. Glad that happened, actually, for demonstrative purposes. I actually have never done or tried to do this strat, really. I did, like, once whenever someone first found it and pointed it out to me, and I was like, yeah, no, never again. I believe, like, there's several other people in the community that could show that off other than I, but the idea would be that you, jump from there and press yourself up onto this little, outpost with the umbrella, I'm pretty sure. The other thing you can do is get yourself lodged in here. Ouch, my jaw. So there's a little bit of a gap between, like, because the roof kind of, like, extends further at the top than lower, oddly enough. So you can, like, get yourself pressed in there by, like, jumping off of the left side into it. I think, do you go backwards and left to do that? As you can tell, I don't recommend any of these methods, but, they exist, so I'm gonna attempt to show them. Yeah, okay, so you need to be in sliding speed, is the problem. Like, you jump and then you, like... When I say sliding speed, I mean that you will end up, like, doing a sliding jump as opposed to a typical jump off the slide. So, like, the thing where Remy's still kind of reeling back. Yeah, so like that. You have to have been moving on the slide, kind of. Yeah, whatever. I don't know how the hell to do this. But that is what you would aim for there, is you would try to get in this back little pocket, and the game will kind of like jitter Remy around and try to push him out, and when it does, you can actually jump with that. We call that a rat flip, and it effectively acts as a triple jump. Because whenever Remy is put into a falling state and isn't able to, like, collide with anything around him or beneath him, and he gets, like, in this pocket of space, to prevent you from, like, building up speed or, like, getting out of bounds or something weird like that, and also just to, like, help the player, the game does this weird additional animation or like boost where it pressures Remy up, it pushes him and tries to pop him out of the hole. But you're still fully in control of Remy and you're completely interactable there. Like, you can't run out of that, but you can jump out of it. So that's how you're able to get an additional third jump that way. And that is actually the theory behind the trick I do, where I actually I get directly to the left of this first line in the gutter here. And I cut out my speed so I can press upwards. For whatever reason, like, I think it's because the game isn't actually sure whether or not to treat it as like a sliding surface or just like regular ground, because like the like edges of this are really weird, and you can just like walk on them sort of sometimes, or at least like with how you're jumping at it. The game just like, I don't want to deal with this. I don't even want to see Remy slide in place. I just want him to get to the game. Or some stupid meme like that. Anyways, you use that, and you don't get as much of a boost as you do, or you don't jump as high as you do with the other trick, because, well, you get boosted from a higher location, and also with, like, you'll kind of get, like, different reactions. Like, it isn't like, neither of these are, like, extremely consistent, but they're pretty consistent. So, again, cut your speed, press up here, and just look for there to be any, like, sudden change on the screen, or, like, look for Remy's feet or his back to leave the ground, and then just mash jump. If you mash jump too early, typically with a pocket, you end up not being able to jump, so this is, like, a lot weirder. Like, that pocket of space, you're normally just floating in, but here you're actually still, like, grounded, so it's a very weird version of that trick, and definitely kind of distracting for it to be the first example for you to see. That is the idea here. Anyways, no matter how you get up here, you want to make sure that you have Remy interact with, like, stand on top of this long bar line here. If you just are on this umbrella post, you will not activate the trigger. And the reason that's important is because you're going to fall off and die. And what that will do is it will set you right next to the mission trigger. And it also refills your health, which is important for one of the latest and fattest additions to the no major skips route that allows us to completely remove the rooftop section. So just there, in order to interact with Celine here, I think is her name. God. Literally not in the movie, and I know her name. You just want to jump, kind of turn around, back right, because you normally go over to her like this, and that's just consistent. Anyways, it will spawn you here. So there's really, like, two different routes of which you can take. Really, I just recommend taking the cat skip route most likely, because the timing is difficult, but you're able to try it many times and still save time over doing this whole loop just to get up there. It's kind of surprising how long it took to, you know, be able to cut out this whole section, considering, like, using that trick I showed you earlier, a rat flip. Like, you also get pushed a little differently based on, you know, how your FPS or like how much you're stuck. It's a little weird, and also the timing on it, because like it happens so fast. Actually being able to get the most out of the jump is very hard. And it technically is possible to clear this gap with a very like well-timed and well-placed rat flip. And that was called Ratatouille. But that is not something that you can consistently set up for or go for in runs, even with pause buffering, as far as I can tell. So anyways, you're going to take this box, and this object is going to act as your gateway to skipping the thing. So I'm going to show you cat skip first for setting it up. You want to, you can avoid having to like drop this item by walking on these separators on the roof, these little rods. That will give you enough height to get up here without having to like push up against this in a weird way. It's way more effectual on higher FPS. But either way, that helps you get onto here consistently. And you want to kind of like cling to the right here, and then you are going to kind of just you're going to aim to put the box so that its two corners are it's going to sit diagonally across this line. So like most of the box is like, you know, balance and like I guess like base points or what, like balance points need to be sitting on this in order to remain. Because if you try to like put it even like from here, okay, so we do have like the 2 points here, but you can see how like more than half of the overall box is like that. Well, the easiest way to do that is by, from what I've found, is by trying to set it up like diagonally like this. And you can also just like push it like ever so slightly further by picking it up and putting it back down again, just because that's the way Remy's animation works. But yeah, just kind of like lining up these corners here, so like those base points of balance are actually sitting on this additional elevation, and then you just need this one corner to stick out. What you're looking for is you're just trying to get some extra height here, and we're going to use one of these cats that act like that rooster in the tutorial that fire at you after like their meter is filled. Like, you know, this box is supposed to be for the stealth mission, but now it's for platforming, baby. Okay, so this skip actually did kind of open our eyes to how stealth things work. So first, as you can see, like, I'm over at the box, and like I'm supposed to use this cat to like damage boost me up into here. So what gives? Well, I actually need, there's like 3 different levels of range that the cat or any like stealth character like it has. Well, not any, because not all of them chuck stuff at you, but anyways, for the cat's case, right. Oh, before I forget, you can just kind of like, so like looking at setting up the box here, you don't have to go very far beyond, like, you actually want to be like close-ish to the wall, because you know, as long, I mean, it's generous where you put the box. It's not so generous with timing. It's more how you place the box. So you run along, and then you like angle up, left, put it down, and there you go. This is ready. Okay, so once you do that, you're actually going to run over, and the cat has a small, so there's, yeah. So here you go. You have the initial spotting range. So actually getting spotted by the cat is the smallest range. So you have to actually aggro the cat first. And the initial time it will attack you, the bar actually fills up, or like the speed at which the bar fills up is random. It's actually possible to get this damage boost from this first thing, but right there, as you saw, the bar almost filled up like instantly. So the cat just ended up damaging me, and now I have 3 health left to work with. So you can see how this can be like frustrating or whatever, but thankfully you're already checkpointed here and the box will remain. Okay, so now the cat is in a different mode where it's triggered, haha, trigger meme. That it's like, it's locked on to you. So there's the lock on range. So with this, we're able to like run over to here and the cat will still be paying attention to us, even though before it wasn't paying any mind to us whatsoever. Now, the final part of the trick actually involves crossing over the range of the cat's target range and leaving that range into just like the range where like it doesn't care. It's the range in which it will stop paying attention to you, like that you leave its sight once again after leaving the target range. But you line your jump up in such a way so that when the cat starts throwing, you are still in its target range, but then after it throws and it like, you know, it still is locking onto you, you leave its targeting range. But the cat still has to follow up with its script where it is attacking you. It has to finish its attack. I mean, I haven't been able to prove this, but theoretically, even if you, like, warped to, like, the other side of the level, if the cat still initiated an attack, then it would, you know. But for the purposes of this skip, you're only just slightly outside of it, and it still is attacking you. But that is where the difficulty of this skip comes in. Because if I go just, like, it's, like, right beyond this, So for the purposes of this skip, the cat's range ends, like, basically, like, directly, just, like, a little bit beyond where this separator is. So we get the cat's attention again. Like, here, the cat still sees me. Okay, the cat doesn't see me now. So you might actually just be safe with using that line. Yeah, you can use that line. So you need, like, your double jump to occur, or, like, in a manner in which the cat is going to see you and aim, like, high enough, and you're going to be here, and then get pushed up by the eventual thing. So you want to spend more of the time being actually out here, and then, like, move yourself in towards the actual pocket to push you. You're looking to get pushed up and over that little design on the fencing there, right at the corner. So if you do it right, it should look something like this. I'm probably gonna die. After you get hurt, you want to listen for the cat to hit twice, and then depending on the spacing of your box, you jump, like, slightly after, or, like, when it happens, or slightly before. Okay, I jumped a little early there. You can, like, try and like, there is a bit of, like, room in terms of, like, the height gain, because the damage boost is like, close to an additional jump. But again, it's the spacing and timing that is the issue. So I have to die and respawn. Be careful on higher FPS. You will trip over all of these separators. By the way, be careful when you're replaying that. 1, 2. Fuck. Okay, so that was slightly early. It's almost impossible to be late. You can also, like, gain the cat's attention by single jumping, or, like, jumping up. Oh. Shit. It has been a while since I've done this. You have to forgive me. But you can see why the, range for this is difficult. It's very annoying because it technically alters very slightly, and you have to, like, react to your own setup, almost. Like, the timing is generally the same, but... yeah.
Little help here?
Yeah, it also just, you know, ends a little bit beyond this corner. Okay, so that is how it would look. Try to, like, maybe, like, pull yourself slightly back, or, like, be against the wall, so that you're not going too far, or, like, moving yourself too... So you're not going too far, like, into, or, like, away from the cat, and you're also not going too far away from the wall. That will be some, like, just generally good rules to keep in mind.
Or dangerous.
Yeah, so, like, towards the end of the hiss, if you're doing, like, it in one swift motion like I am. Oh, that was the second. God damn it. Yeah. So you could see, even there, like, even though, like, Remy kinda had to, like, wait a little bit longer to get pushed up, I like that I've gotten it every time on the one I will die at. Yeah, for the first try, or, like, for the first one, it's just whenever he ends up filling the meter. Which you can also, like, wait for that to decline. There we go. Alright. So whenever you do get this, all you have to do is run over to that hole, that's the exit of the pipe, and you will complete this mission. I'm going to do this once more and then demonstrate the other route that doesn't use this skip. Oh yeah, I guess just don't go beyond the light here either. This cat's being really finicky today. I don't remember the range being so small, like, for targeting. A little late on them. Okay, so that was late too, as you saw. Early. It's a very small window because, you know, it instantly will stop fucking with you. You don't want that. You just need to dive now. There you go. Come on, kitty, kitty, kitty. You'd think that this is what the grandma was housing. How rude it is. Hashtag rude. SMH. Oh my god. What the hell? Yeah, having it off screen for whatever reason helps me, but you can actually like look at the cat like rear up before it fires as well. That's something to you. Sometimes you can just like run it straight up. Yeah, that would be something to watch. Okay. Yeah, I do apologize for the difficulty I had in actually displaying the trick. That trick was only found a few months before I just went and made this, and I have been like in the process of moving and getting a different job and stuff. Okay, so if that isn't your speed, what you can do is walk over to this left corner, aim your face down, and you want to put this down in a manner in which you will have enough room for Remy to get into this long rat, like, this is that pocket kind of thing I was talking about. And with proper timing, you can do the rat flip and get up to here, and that avoids having to do that whole thing with the steam pipes there. I recommend, like, either way, you're going to need to learn to do rat flips, in this game, because they're pretty... It was, like, the first and, like, one of the main, like bits of movement tech, and it, like, helps so much, in being able to, like, cover routes, glitch hunt, everything. Although, now that I'm thinking of it more, I'm not sure if there is actually one in No Major Skips. There's definitely one in any percent. No Major Skip. Oh, yeah, okay, there are rat flips and No Major Skips here. So, yeah, it's a skill that you need to learn. It's, like, the fact of yeah, Market OOB. Thank you, Sib. I was just thinking this. I see, like, I went and, and thought through the levels in my head in order. I was like, oh my god, there aren't any in Kitchen, there aren't any here. That's pretty wild. It's pretty wild to think, because, like, that was all we would use, rat flips. Now, there's so many other, like, movement tech tools that we have, and just, like, more clever routing and just, like, minor geometry stuff. Okay, anyways, so like I said, very useful tool to have. It will help you get good at timing, and it will help you get good at, like, mashing your jumps, just, like, being observant and, like, understanding spacing and jumping shit in this game. So anyways, you can run up this, do the thing where you grab the umbrella and then float down. You can actually, like, veer off to the left, and there's, like, a small chance of being able to catch a lip on this left roof, and then just being able to skip the rooftops entirely again. But there's only, like, a few recorded instances of that happening, and you're way better off just learning rat, cat, splat, strat, or I mean catch, skip, if you're going to go and do that. So, I mean, it is worth a try if you're, you know, maybe if you don't do that strat and, you know, you're trying to save a run or whatever. But generally speaking, it's better to just like use the star and try to line up with like landing on this wire fencing here. If you don't do it, oh, I've done it on PC. Say, it's just stupid hard. You have to, if you do see, if you do end up looking for that, you try to like angle Remy so that like it's almost like an up left or up right kind of thing, where he like slowly gets edged up the roof. You'll kind of know it when you see it, but in all reality, don't go for it. Okay, so to skip these spinning turbines, you want to land on the bottom of this like wire, or just land on there with the umbrella itself. Do a quick turn around double jump thing. This is very, very thin platforming movement, so, you know, realistically, you don't have to learn all this. Even if you just do, like, I just try to, like, push till I see, like, Remy's feet, like, they kind of tend to magnetize on something. I'll just, like, what I'll do is I'll go right next to the thing and just, like, jump and barely tap the direction. And that will usually get me there. Of course, being able to, like, using shadows to line up is also a good technique in platformers in general. You can just jump to this one, actually, from there. So you don't need to do this. In fact, that may be fast. But I like to jump on to this one, and then from here you can go over to here. One of the oldest and coolest skips that I think no one uses is spider skip, which I will show you, where you basically bait the spiders. But alternatively, if you need, you can run over here. I'll show the thing where you don't have to actually spin. I'm gonna hold square, and look, it interacted with that, and then you can go and get the ball. But for these spiders, they are a bit random, but you kind of want to look for just like them to be like spread away from like one of the corners, and then just like kind of let them do their thing, hold them together. When something gets too close, have them try and back off, and then yeah, you can actually just hold the one direction and land on it. Hold down left. Okay, I see this one's getting too feisty. Up, they've grouped up more again. Up, okay, okay. And then I'll space out the jump while I'm in there. Whenever, so the spiders have a range that's literally just within the box. On that, like, this second ledge here, though, they, don't, actually, like, come to you. You can also potentially just like squeeze past them on like around the bend here. So maybe something else you could do is like these guys really got the thing covered, but you could like do that, right? And then if you didn't bonk, then you could do that. You could, you know, swing around that. But this tends to be the simplest and like most consistent way for me. So again, I like bait them into there, and then depending on how close they are, I'll run along. You always start by running along the edge, because as soon as you're in this space, no matter how high up you are, they are going to get on the prowl for you. They are chasing after you. You only start jumping when they get so close that you're going to collide with their hitbox if you don't jump. So right here, I wouldn't have actually gotten past that bottom spider in the middle, like right below the book there, if I hadn't been sprinting. The same is true with these other ones near me. So there, now I've skipped the spiders. If you do get caught, you're most likely going to get comboed, but you can, like, press, like, jump and, like, try to influence it by, like, just pressing hard right after, or, like, as you're getting hit. Let me just demonstrate this shit again. So there I did a single jump. And there you go, now you're on. Okay, then from here, get onto this ball. You don't need to do this gauntlet at all. Don't forget to do your little ball boosting, which I'm sure there's a page on the Wikipedia, the free encyclopedia. Jump off, you know, bust your ball and jump on here. You'll be able to land on this ledge, and then just run over, hit the Ratatorial. You can actually hit this from all the way over there, but the animation is very slow, so just wait for this to play out, and then go across. And you can either, like, jump out, space out your jumps, and then run along the floor there, or you can, get all the way over to this, and then go. And from here, you know, either climb these boxes and go over here, or, jump onto this, table. However, or not table, this chair. However, with this chair, you have to do another, like, small platforming thing where you land on the arm, because you actually don't have enough height to, get to this normally. You have to land on the chair, and then you can jump to the right and land on this wire. Or if you want to do really dumb swag stuff, if you line up this bottle, right, and press